There are many factors that affect an athlete's performance. In this video, we will explore the genetic influences and development of muscle fibers and muscle fascicle length. Mammalian skeletal muscle has two main functions. 1. Maintaining posture, which requires prolonged low-level activation. 2. Enabling movement, which can vary in intensity from endurance activities such as walking to explosive ones like sprinting and jumping.
For our bodies to be most efficient and effective in each of these functions, our muscles have adapted to utilize slow and fast twitch fibers. These fibers are fueled by ATP, a chemical which is produced firstly through glycolysis from glucose, then respiration if oxygen is available.
Have you ever noticed that athletes in different sports can have vastly different physiques? For example, a sprinter and a marathon runner. This is largely due to the types of muscle fibers that the athlete naturally has, but also different types of muscle fibers being recruited through training. Researchers who performed muscle biopsies found that there are two categories of muscle fibers, fast twitch and slow twitch. Slow twitch fibers are found in high percentages in athletes like marathon runners. They have a low force output but a greater endurance capacity by an increased blood supply to the muscle. They are also less bulky than fast twitch fibers. Slow twitch or type 1 fibers are categorized by four things. 1. A high myoglobin content, a protein that provides oxygen to working muscles. And 2. High oxidative and aerobic capacity, meaning ATP is produced in aerobic respiration. 3. A relatively low contraction time, 110 milliseconds to reach peak tension. And 4. Reduced rate of ATP consumption during isometric contraction and slow to fatigue. Power athletes, like sprinters, have a higher percentage of fast twitch fibers. Fast twitch fibers can be further subcategorized into fast oxidative glycolytic, type 2A, a hybrid fiber, and fast glycolytic, type 2B. Both have a high force output but limited endurance, less blood supply, and are more bulky than type 1 muscle fibers. Type 2B fibers are categorized by 1. High phosphocreatine content, a chemical that facilitates the production of ATP. 2. High glycolytic capacity, meaning ATP is produced in glycolysis. 3. 3 to 8 times more muscle fibers per motor neuron and the ability to reach peak tension in 50 milliseconds. 4. Thus, much faster and stronger, but rapidly fatigues and uses significantly more energy, approximately 5 times. 5. Alpha-actinin 3, one protein involved in muscle contraction, present only in fast twitch fibers.
A regular person generally will have roughly a 50-50 ratio of slow to fast twitch fibers. A sprinter will have a higher percentage of fast twitch fibers because they would have recruited more fast twitch fibers through specific training. Marathon runners will have a higher percentage of slow twitch fibers because of their sport-specific training. For elite athletes, where any small edge in performance through efficient energy expenditure and power output can be the difference between success and failure, a natural muscular advantage is important. A study on the muscle fiber composition of elite sprinters, mid-distance and long-distance runners found a significant correlation between their performance at different distances and their fiber ratios. As you can see from the table, power athletes like the sprinters and hammer throwers have a higher ratio of fast to slow twitch fibers. Endurance athletes like the marathon runner have more slow than fast twitch fibers.
Another genetic factor that can influence sports performance is muscle fascicle length. As shown in the diagram, a muscle fascicle is a bundle of skeletal muscle fibers. Muscle fascicle length has been found to be related to performance in male 100-meter sprinters. Those with faster personal best times significantly correlated with longer fascicles, associated them with sprint and power performance. Also, the fascicles in the leg muscles of the distance runners are shorter than those in sprinters, relating them to power performance. These studies all indicate a strong relationship between muscle composition and performance in power and endurance sports. Individuals with higher proportions of slow twitch fibers are generally able to perform at a higher level in endurance sports, and those with more effective fast twitch in power sports. For athletes in most sports, physique and muscular performance plays a significant role in their success And whilst this success isn't necessarily dictated by muscle fibre composition, a strong relation does exist. Within the North American Caucasian population, a person's proportion of fast to slow twitch muscle fibres can vary by up to 30%.
15% of this variation can be accounted for by the AGTR2 gene polymorphisms. A 2014 study found that individuals carrying the C allele were associated with a high percentage of slow twitch fibers and correspondingly generally exhibited better performance in endurance sports. Additionally, muscle biopsies of these expressing the AGTR2A allele showed more fast twitch fibers and better performance in power sports. Another gene frequently associated with athletic performance is the ACTN3 gene. A mutation of the ACTN3, present in 20 to 50% of people, results in a total deficiency of the protein in fast-twitch muscle fibers. Whilst the function of this protein isn't fully understood, a strong correlation exists between the gene and athletic performance. The mutated allele is underexpressed in power athlete populations, meaning alpha-actinin 3 improves the performance of fast-twitch muscle fibers. In a study on muscle vesicle length, resistance training was found to have no effect on it, suggesting that it is another genetic component in athletic success.
However, ideal genetics aren't the only component to athletic success. Performance is also improved by muscles adapted to stimulus, that is, muscle growth. Most notably in power athletes, resistance training is employed to accelerate muscular development beyond what can be achieved just through sport-specific training. Predominantly, muscle growth is attributed to hypertrophy, which is the growth of the fibers without an increase in number, and this hypertrophy can be targeted to either of the fiber type. A study of individuals following a strength training program structured around performing a low number of repetitions of an exercise at a high weight. Verdict's 2009 study found an increase in overall lean leg mass and cross-sectional area, with no observed changes in slow twitch fibers. Another study on elite hammer throwers found that their larger muscle mass, regardless of fiber type, contributed most significantly to their performance. Whether an athlete is able to change their natural ratio of fast to slow twitch fibers is a contentious topic. Literature on the topic of interconversion is conflicted and incomplete, with no conclusions on the training methods that may be required to do so. Hyperplasia, which is muscle growth through an increase in number of fibers, is similarly incomplete. Whilst the latest studies suggest that this growth is possible, no training methods have been studied and neither has the potential for specific targeting of fiber types. Thus, it appears that athletes may be stuck with their inherited muscle traits, but they do have the ability to compensate through training and hypertrophy.
For an elite athlete seeking to be successful, many considerations are taken to enhance their performance, even the smallest amounts. Various studies show evidence that at elite levels, small genetic advantages, specifically concerning muscle fiber types, over the normal population are common. However, the conclusion that certain genes improve athletic performance is based on the underexpression of the particular gene in the elite population, in comparison to the control. It is not a requirement for high performance. Whilst it may be possible to shift fiber types to better suit an application, greater benefits can be attained by general muscle hypertrophy.